Welcome, everyone. It's
Field
Bryan,
goal
Piper,
thing.
and
Is this a
Ray
new?
West.
Is this a new trend on TikTok?
The new trend on TikTok, huh?
No. Welcome to MEA and Friends.
MEA and Friends, current events with
events. Yep.
grumpier old men.
Mr. Bryan Piper, and I'm Ray West.
Yep.
Welcome, Bryan. How are you?
Thank you, sir. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Fantastic. Yep. Welcome to April.
April.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Already, man.
Yeah. Quarter of the year. We're done.
Yep.
And been rocking. Yep. You've been busy?
Lots of travel, man. Lots and lots of travel. I went to Chicago and did a training up there. Did not make it to Canada like I had planned. I had some issues getting my passport in time. But from what I saw of the CMA Expo up there, it was a great turnout. So
yeah.
And then been planning a training that we're going to do, like a hands-on training here in San Antonio up the street from me in May. And then I have travel later in the month. Actually, next week, I got to go to Massachusetts for another quick trip. And then we get to May and Knowledge Fest in Orlando.
Yeah. I hop on a chicken chaser to Canadian land here in like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, there's 30 or 40 dealers up there I'm going to chat with.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. Sounds like fun.
It should be a good time.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to shoot for Dallas.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
You're Dallas, not Orlando and Indy. Well, we don't do Indy. But Orlando, we'll see how it goes. I hope it's better.
I think that's our current goal for me is to get out in Dallas and do a little speaking. So
very nice.
Yeah. Yep. Been a while, but that's that. So today we have some special guests.
Yes.
And I know one of these guys too well, and the other one we're getting there.
Okay.
So I think the topic we're going to talk about today is customer expectations and how to deliver on what you can do and what the client wants. And how all that rolls together in a day and in two very big locations.
Yeah. And you know, I never being in a big location, but having to deal with that on my own in the past. I mean, what can be accomplished and what is expected sometimes is two very different things.
Yep. So I want to talk about what we do to handle that expectation.
Yeah.
Before you actually start on the job. So we have some things that work for us, and I would like to kind of share some of those stories and what we've done in the past maybe didn't work, and then what we're doing today and what does work.
I think that's great to show, you know, the positive and the not so positive, you know, effects of what you've tried. I think that's a great thing because it gives it might head somebody off at the pass from making that mistake going forward.
Sure. Yep.
Sure. So our guests today are your boss, Phil Lindsley.
I'm his boss most days.
Okay. Well, okay.
Let him feel that way. That's fine.
He's the paycheck writer, right?
That's right. He cuts the check.
He signs the check. You do the job. And then Yamil Widy from Traffic Jams is our other guest. So why don't we go ahead and bring them in and get this rolling. Good evening, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
Thank you for coming on. Ray kind of took the reins on this one to get everything put together, but I wanted to say thank you right out of the gate for coming on and joining us and supporting what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Absolutely. Anytime.
You know, I gave you all that notice.
I want to clarify one thing though, is I don't actually write the checks. We actually have a company that does that. So I guess I actually don't do anything there.
Anything at all. Yeah.
Your signature's on the rubber stamp, right?
Same thing here. I don't write checks either. My wife does.
Oh, so you have the boss of the boss.
Oh yeah, I got demoted.
Right.
I got
Yeah.
demoted late last year. She took the reins of that, and now I don't get no respect in the shop.
There you go.
It's funny how that works, right, man?
Right?
The person who writes the checks, they get all the respect.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, so you guys you heard about what we're trying to talk about is when the client either calls and sets an appointment or shows up in the morning, what's the expectation? What data did you gather before you start, and what can we pass off to our techs and let them know this is what we need to get done that day, and maybe a story about what hasn't worked or what doesn't work or when we see it fail, and then how do we overcome those obstacles, and what are we doing today to get better at that. Because today we had a negative, like one job basically came in and maybe it wasn't super clear, got lost in the shuffle, and something kind of went a little awry. And on top of that, we have another job that showed up from a different facility where the expectation wasn't even explained to the client, and they did something to the vehicle that he had no idea was happening and is not cool with. So I just want to talk about some of them stories and what maybe you do, Jamil, for check-in for info when they come in, and what works for you now.
Well, we're kind of in a little bit of a transition period right now. As Phil knows, we've transitioned over to Shop Monkey 100%, and it's been a little bit of a learning curve. I see some stuff that definitely is helping us a lot more, making things a lot more simpler. But it's one of these moments right now where we're screwing up so bad on some of these things because it's a new platform that we're learning. But every day we're getting better at it. And I'll tell you this, just from the beginning of the check-in procedure is so important. We were doing it kind of the old Fred Flintstone ways of still having a printed out check-in sheet and going out there and writing down things. And as a matter of fact, we had a situation today that it kind of saved our butts, man, because customer called us a couple hours after he picked up the vehicle, and he says we curved his wheel. Well, great thing about that was we had a check-in procedure with pictures. So Phil, I owe you on that one, man. Yeah, I was able to go back and I said, look, here's your wheel before when you got checked in. Here's your wheels, because we were actually doing wheels and tires and air suspension on this vehicle. And here's your wheels after you got checked out. So at that point, the customers couldn't really say anything other than, I'm sorry. I thought it was you guys. It must have been my wife on the way home. So, it was one of those things where not a big deal. It's a wheel, it could have been $400 or $500. But again, you and I had talked about this, Phil. This stuff adds up quick. And right there, if you didn't have a check-in procedure, that would have been $400 or $500 that in most shops that might have put them on their negative in that day. So, we're very, very strict on check-in procedures. We don't get started now with these vehicles until the customer sees that check-in procedure and signs off on it. Before, we would just check it in and get going working on it, and never really had a true confirmation from the consumer stating that he accepted this check-in sheet. So sometimes there would be a little gray area there where they would argue saying, hey, I didn't see that. Now we don't get started. We tell them when they drop off the keys, until you don't sign off on this check-in sheet, we're not starting the vehicle. So they're looking for it. They're calling 20, 30 minutes after the vehicle's been dropped off to, hey, where's my check-in sheet? So that's something that obviously is very important that a lot of shops need to be doing, just for a simple fact that could be it could be costly at the end of the year. When we were in Vegas in our class, I shared in our class that 2-3 years ago, our shop spent close to $60,000 in repairs, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I would say we will own up to 3/4 of that, but maybe a quarter of that wasn't us, and we had to swallow that pill, because what do? You're going to sit there and argue with a customer when you don't have your ducks in a row where you could defend yourself. So we ended up spending a lot of money on that. So finally we moved over to this, and it's helped us a lot. a lot.
For sure.
It'll be difficult, but
Well,
it's
and the
working.
flip side of that too is like, say it's yes, it's about your liability too, but when that client, now the relationship is good, right? It stays good. He's like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. Well, now he continues to do business with you. So what about that loss of revenue for, no, you guys did that, even if you fix it, because you didn't have proof, he might not ever come back to your store again. We actually had a situation in our parking lot that wasn't even the client's car. It was another potential client that we saw bump into a car in our parking lot. So we went and stopped him and, hey, you just bumped into this car. And we kind of looked and there was some damage on the back bumper. And we're like, hey, you need to come in and we need to figure this out. And so, we were figuring out how much to fix it. He was going to pay for it. And then he was like, man, I really don't think that's where I hit that car. It was over more on the side. So we pulled up the check-in procedure for the car that he had bumped. And sure enough, the damage in the middle of the bumper was already there. And so he was like, we were like, hey, we apologize. That wasn't you. That's why we do these check-ins. And he's like, man, well, I was going to be a client and now I'm just really impressed on how you guys handled all that. So I'm definitely going to proceed with my job. So just that level of professionalism, whether it's the client or, whether you did do the damage or you didn't, or just that whole process ends with everybody feeling good, even if it happened at your shop and you got to pay for it. Client feels good about that, or it didn't happen. Client feels good about that, right? So that's what it's about. It's about the potential loss of revenue on the check-in stuff.
Correct.
And Ray can elaborate more on this, but because there's two parts kind of to this, what you guys brought up, and the expectation part. So we've changed our process because we were for a long time, and a lot of shops do this. We're just like, sell a job. You're like, yeah, just bring it. All the cars, come with your wallets. Everybody drop off. And it just and those of you that have been to our shop, we couldn't do that anymore. We couldn't pull in our parking lot. We got stuff everywhere. And so we've had to really schedule out, even if it's a come by the shop and get an estimate and then leave with the vehicle. I mean, we had a guy, where did that Caprice come from, Ray? He was like 4 or 5 hours away or several hours away. Yeah. So we had him tow the car to the shop, let us quote it, and then it left. So, and that's just kind of how we do things. I don't sit at the shop, waiting for a month or however long for parts to come. You come, you get your estimate, you do your deposit, car leaves, and it comes back when the actual work is getting done. That came out of a necessity for us, but I really suggest any shop do that because
there's no need to be. Yep.
Yeah, you're liable for every car in your parking lot. So the longer that something's sitting there, the more chances, that something's going to happen to it. So, and really it's just, over promise, under deliver. That's my big thing with day to day, like smaller expectations. If you think a job's going to take 8 hours, at a good pace, and there's 9 hours in that workday, I mean, tell them it's going to be a 2-day job. Then if you tell them at the end of the day their car's ready, they're super happy. If it bleeds to the next day, they don't care because they were already expecting 2 days. So, so we've really, gotten better at doing that, and it seems to be working pretty well. Ray, you can speak on this. I mean, I know the scheduling ahead stuff for the bigger projects has made a big difference.
Of course, also the smaller things that we're able to kind of spearhead that first thing in the morning. Like me and Phil, of course, we'll get together first thing to see what's big and what we feel may be rolling, and then with the rest of the sales team to let them know, hey, in 30 minutes when that door opens, like we need to just let this guy know this is, he shouldn't be expecting it today. It's got a 10 hours labor or whatever on it. Get ahead of that so the client is aware before he even leaves that he knows it's going to be there a second day. So that part of the expectation and on top of that, what else we're doing to it, does he understand and know all the things that we're doing? So that's another expectation portion. Like he needs to be aware of everything that we're about to do to the car, and that it's just all clear. So the tech knows, it's all written down, it's all in the work order. It's not a amplifier and sub box. Like we put a lot of details where the amp's going to go, where's the bass knob go, little things like that. But you clear all that up ahead of time, and then you don't have to try to call them at 2:30 in the afternoon and say, hey, where do you want this bass knob?
Right.
So that's
well, and also as you kind of go through the line by line on everything you're doing, a lot of people don't know what these jobs take, right? And they're not supposed to. But some of them like, oh, you throw an amp and it takes an hour, I'm just going to wait. Like they're assuming that that's what's going to happen. And then what happens is an hour after they've been there, they're wanting to know why their car's not done. So really kind of explaining, yes, this is going to be probably 3 to 5 hours, blah, blah, blah. You got lunch in there. And I try to make it where I really don't want anybody waiting on any car in the shop at all. I mean, it just puts more pressure on your guys, or hey, what's he waiting on? Are they doing okay? And then also they like to, they're bored, right? They're sitting there waiting for 2, 3, 4 hours. They want to come chit chat about whatever, and whether it's about actually buying something or not, TBD. But gist of it is there's some talkers, right? And how much are they going to be taking up your sales guys' time, as they just chit chat and want to do whatever. So my general rule of thumb is I do my very best to make it clear, like, hey, you should just drop your car off and pick it up or whatever. So, and that's gotten, I think, better. We saw people wait, obviously, and that's fine. We have a nice waiting area and coffee and all that. But I try to, hey, we're not really sure, or this is going to be most of the day. So, take an Uber, we can give you a ride. And I think that helps overall with the pressure on the sales guys and the techs and all that.
Real quick, I want to say, I haven't done retail in quite a few years, but even back when I was kind of working through some of these issues, 2 things I did. One, I just got rid of the waiting area. Like just made it go away. There's no coffee. There's no nothing. We'll hand you a water bottle or we'll get you something while we're doing a consultation with you. But otherwise, there's no waiting area. You're going to stand there and you're going to get really bored. And, or, we didn't have Uber back then, but if we had to, if that would have been an available option, I'd call somebody an Uber. What's $30 going to cost us, right? We're going to just learn to build that in somewhere to get rid of them. But the other side of that was like you're talking about making sure that you have enough time for each tech every day. The one thing that I started doing is the beginning of the month, I knew pretty much what my schedule was going to be, barring, anybody getting sick. But if there were vacation days or whatever, I built that in. And we had like, at one point I had 4 techs. And so I had 4 bays and I knew I had 8 hours a day in each bay. So that's what we sold. You sold labor per bay per day. And so, we were there for 9 hours, but we had 8 hours that we sold. And that way that hour was a buffer. Hopefully we didn't have anything too big other than that, as long as we did our job right. But that helped us get to a point where we weren't just, oh yeah, drop a car off, drop another car off. Well, we'll take that one too. And then the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we're still trying to finish cars from that day so we could get to the cars for the next day. So making labor a sellable SKU helped me and my company a lot.
So a lot of people don't see that way. And that's the downfall to a lot of shops. They feel that labor, as long as they cover their techs, pay for the day, that they're great, they're gravy. And that's not the way that runs. So 2 things, man, kind of reiterate on what you were saying. We have a nice showroom. I think we made it a little too plush for the customers, so they don't mind staying. We just decided at the beginning of this month that we're eliminating our showroom, our waiting area.
Yeah.
We're going to use the waiting area, and we're kind of doing a remodel where our tent bay now is going to be in our showroom. It's going to be glassed off, where we're going to use that space where right now a couch and TV and coffee machine and keg machine is taking up space, and we don't want customers there. So at this point, we've trained all the sales staff to say there's no waiting. You drop off, you pick up. Pickup time is from 4 to 6, not before, not after.
Yeah.
Right now, the only time that we allow someone to wait if they're just waiting on roll-ups for their tent job, because usually we get that in and out within an hour and bye-bye, be gone. Now that's going to open up a space in the bay that right now we have a tent room, a wrap room, everything that's taking up another spot back there. And we're going to eliminate it in the bay area to be able to get more cars in the back, open up another spot for another tech.
So makes your bay more profitable in the end, because now you're freeing up space that was making you no money.
Yeah.
Correct. And our showroom is not making us money.
Nope.
You know, not our showroom, our waiting area. It doesn't make you
Waiting
money. It
area,
actually
right.
costs you money. It actually
Yeah.
costs you money because they're there drinking your coffee, drinking your sodas, you know, watching your cable TV, wasting your sales people's time
Yes.
because all they want to do is be, you know, they want to talk to somebody. They get bored.
They want to be
So
entertained.
correct. We're going away from that. Our hopefully by the end of this month, our waiting area will be completely eliminated from the showroom. They have to drop cars off and pick up at 4. This is something that I learned a couple of years ago from a friend of ours in Vegas that he wouldn't even have his doors open for anybody to come in until 4 o'clock. Obviously, that's a kind of one of those ways that you run a shop a little different. Um, but to us now, it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock is pickup time. It saves a lot of time. Also, got to be realistic with your hours during the day. You know, we say that there's 8 hours in the billable hours in the day to sell, but technically, Ray, and maybe you could show me something different here, but I don't know many techs that can do 8 hours in a day consistently.
I
By the
know
time
some.
they
I know
some. I'm
some.
not going to say all. I'm not going to say all.
I know
But
some.
majority are only going to put in a good 6,
6. Yep.
maybe 7 hours a day,
Yep.
and that's just being realistic. By the time they use the bathroom 4 times, by the time they check Facebook and Messenger and OnlyFans or whatever else they got going on in their life, they've wasted an hour, hour and a half out of the
Yeah.
day. So to be realistic, I've trained my staff where if the job is more than 6 hours and there's only one tech working on that vehicle, it automatically is a 2-day job.
2 day.
Automatically, like that, it just eliminates the staff, the sales staff going to the back. Like, it's done. Is it almost done? Should I call them? Should I not call them? Blah blah blah. And then at the end of the day, it becomes a cluster just because sales staff is stressed to try to get a customer there. Techs in the back are starting to get stressed and starting to rush the job, trying to get it finished. So anything over 6 hours, next day. No questions asked. Just let them know up front. And like that, you don't have a customer calling 3, 4 times a day saying, "Hey, is my car ready? Is my car ready?" No,
Right.
we
Right.
told you it's a 2-day job. You pick up tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Even if the car is done that night at 6 o'clock, whatever the time you're leaving, if we got to
get it
sit
tomorrow.
there the next day for a couple hours, it gives you time to go back and give it another QC, make sure that everything's still working the way it should. And at the same time, I don't know, we have a policy when the car comes out, everything gets wiped down, it gets vacuumed. It doesn't matter if it's there to put a fuse in there. We do that service for a customer. And when they come pick up their car and it looks a little bit cleaner than what it did when it came in, they love it.
Yeah.
Great review right there. Hey man,
Sure.
my car came in just for a fuse and they vacuumed and wiped down my dash and my door panels and this and that. Goes a long way. So it just gives you a little extra time to do a couple of things that usually you wouldn't get a chance to do when you're in a rush.
Right.
One thing that I try to preach to my sales staff is you should know the product you're selling. And a lot of times sales guys don't take the time to get in a vehicle and even learn how to, let's say, put the clock on, do the time on a radio, or go through the functions where if a customer comes and asks them, how do I connect my Bluetooth? They're over there fumbling through it when it's time for delivery. And that shouldn't be the time to be fumbling through that. So that gives your staff a little bit more time to be able to say, hey, I'm going outside to go QC this vehicle. I need 15 minutes to go through everything, make sure that everything that I promised, everything that I sold is done correctly on this vehicle. Even though obviously we know now with Shop Monkey, with all the inner messages that you can do with your staff, they should be pretty clear, but sometimes things do get twisted. Some things get left out. That
Yep.
gives the sales guy the last chance to get in that vehicle and make sure it's right. So
100%.
those are part of the expectations that we set with the customers right off the rip when it's a bigger job.
Now, you said
So what
something
would-
that I really like is, and I think this works well or could work very well for a lot of shops. You have this expectation now for the client that they can only pick up between 4 and 6.
Mhm.
So that works in a lot of ways of, okay, so your sales guys know that at 4 o'clock, they're going to shift from whatever it was they were doing to now they're all focused on getting their clients' vehicles delivered.
Correct.
So that's their focus for 2 hours, or maybe it's an hour and a half, whatever, depending on how
Correct.
fast
Whatever
they get
it
them
is.
out.
Mhm.
But everybody's focused on delivering the vehicles. All of your techs can be working on cleaning up and getting ready to shut down, or they're available if they need to go talk to a client on a vehicle they worked on. So they're not in a rush to get that last job out by 6 o'clock because it's going to be there tomorrow for them to finish up, because now they know they have till tomorrow afternoon to tidy up.
Correct. So one of the key things on that is making sure that your consumer is very well aware that that vehicle needs to be there on time for their appointment.
Yes.
You know, you get some customers that you tell them to come in at 9 and they show up at 11. Well, that just screwed up your schedule 2 hours.
Yep.
So it didn't screw our schedule up. It screwed their schedule, because now if they thought their job was going to get there today, now it's going to be the next day.
Yeah.
And we tell them
it
up
goes
front.
from 1 day to 2 day real fast.
Yep. I had a gentleman today. He brings in a Aston Martin, and it was a 2-day job, and he brings it in for late 3 hours. So I said, well, now it's going to go into the third. Yeah, now it's gone into the third day. And you know, he was like, no problem. That's my fault. I woke up late. You know, if you need an extra day, let me know. Well, you tell us it gives you an extra day. Now, as you know, Phil, and you know, Ray, that gives you time to maybe get in a couple hours on something else that maybe you didn't have time yesterday. And, you know, it helps with the schedule. So a lot of times being upfront with the customer with the expectations actually buys you time on the backside.
Yeah.
Yep. No doubt.
So my only playing devil's advocate here, because I think that's actually I like it. It's a great idea. What about, so at your shop, Yamil, do all the cars stay inside overnight, or does some stuff be out?
So I'll tell you this. You guys remember playing Tetris when you were younger?
Yeah.
I still play Tetris every day. But
do they all get inside?
So this is the key. No, it's impossible. There's no way. There's no way. I have right now, I think we counted today, I have 41 cars at the shop. I can only fit inside my work area about 28 to 30, depending on the size of the vehicles. So no, 10, 11, 12 cars sat outside today. But at that point, it goes based on value of the car. Obviously, I'm not going to leave Aston Martin sitting outside when I could leave a Honda Civic outside. So I got to kind of pick and choose what is going to cost us more if something were to happen. You know, insurance policy, anything, well, I don't know how it is with you guys, anything inside your building is covered. Outside, it starts becoming a gray area. Luckily with us, we have a gated, our backside of our shop is gated. So we actually have 3 gates at our shop. So to get to the last gate where all the cars stay at, you'd have to be pretty good at getting in and out pretty quick. So yeah, no, we don't get all the cars in every day. And this is why we were talking that gives our techs an hour at the end of the day to figure out what cars staying inside, what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to stay outside, what needs to be locked up. I had a customer drop off a truck this weekend, and he left all this equipment in the back of the truck, where right in the front of the shop where anybody could see it, just like nothing. And I told him, I said, hey man, I'm not responsible. You're bringing this after hours. If somebody breaks into this vehicle, yes, it's on our property, but we're not responsible because we haven't taken possession of the vehicle yet. So he understood very clearly. He's like, this is the only time I can do it. But at that point, that truck was here for a week, and we knew it couldn't stay inside. So what do? We go and take all the equipment out of the vehicle, put it on its rack for that vehicle, and now it's inside. So if it does something happen to it, it's it's going to be either there's not going to be nothing major because they're not trying to steal a factory radio. Right. But no, we don't get all the cars in there. There's no way.
I mean, I guess so where I'm coming from and asking that is, and again, this is just for us where our particular situation where we're just packed, right? So, if I can have somebody pick up at 2 and their car not be there from 2 to 4, then let's get it out of here, So, but that being said, while that's been advantageous and sometimes necessary, I like the guys waiting or the pressure on sales guys. Like, should I update my client, or do I have to wait over because they can't be here by 6? I just called them 20 minutes ago. Their car was ready. Like things like that. Like they do create some potentially unneeded, stress and whatnot. And then also we have been trying and have tried in the past to do a cleanup on every single car. And really just have kind of run out of time, right? So it's like, all right, we're trying to deliver all this stuff. They dropped off this morning. We did the job, but now it's 5:30. Like that's not happening. Cleanup's not happening. So
really
I like those aspects.
Yeah, because cleanup is not doing jack shit until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, like we actually move into different departments to help out until it's time to start doing cleanup. So that that really hit home that I could really keep him busy first thing in the morning to make sure he's
cleaning up all the cars that were done the previous day.
washing the boss's truck all day. You know.
So cleanup for us, we have 2 guys who do that, independent which one is busy, which one's not. We get the cleanup done before it brings up before the car is brought around for the sales
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
Like that. At that point, we know that it's been QC 2 times. It's waiting on the third QC from the sales guys, but it's clean, it's ready to go. Now the sales guys catch something that didn't get caught in 2 QCs, and it goes back and it starts the whole procedure. But the other thing I've done with that, Phil, is when we have expensive vehicles that have to stay outside, which it doesn't happen all the time because obviously we try to get those inside. I've had to hire somebody to stay out in the parking lot.
We had some security guys for a while.
And it obviously there's a cost to that, but does that cost, can you offset that cost with extra time in the day of not having to worry about getting all these vehicles done or not finished or rushed at the end of the day? So it's it's a fine line. You gotta you gotta do the math obviously to make it see if it works for you. But I've had to do that sometimes, man. I've gone 1 year, we went to Knowledge Fest where the whole shop was there, and I had a lot of beautiful cars sitting outside. And what I did, I just went and got a small little RV and parked it outside in the parking lot. And my guy stayed there for the whole weekend while we were gone. He was the one, taking care of the parking lot. So it's little things, you got to think outside the box on that. Especially our senior shop, man. You guys don't have, at the big parking lot, and you get packed like that, man. So it's a tough problem every day, and it takes time. It takes time. Like for us, it takes us every day 30 to 45 minutes just to get cars inside the bay.
Oh yeah, we know that life. Yeah, we know all about that life.
Yeah, so it sucks, but it's part of it.
Another time or something that we're working on and have been working on is sales guys have some time away from the counter each day in order to work on their big tickets or get caught up and whatnot. And we have 2 greener guys that worked at front counter, talking less than 10 years experience. And so I've been trying to have them take, get caught up in what you got to do, but then take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and go downstairs and watch these guys putting something in the car. So you can kind of get the gist of how it goes in the car, all the little things we do. And if something's done, go out there and play with it. Go pair your phone. Go figure that out. So they're taking, those little 30-minute windows that they have away from the front counter, and they can get caught up, because with as busy as we are, there's zero time if you don't actually step away.
So that's a great idea. The only, again, back devil's advocate with that is then next thing you know, you have a lot of guys walking away from the sales counter to do their 30 minutes at the same time, and you have
no, it's all scheduled.
It's all scheduled, so that's perfect. That's perfect. Well, what we've done with that is that we've kind of taken that a little bit different approach on that. We're doing that in our trainings and in our shop trainings. So the way that we kind of do our trainings is that one training is more towards sales, then the other training is more towards tech, and it gets taught by a sales guy or a tech guy. And what we're trying to do is educate the other side. So if it's the techs are trying to educate the sales guys are trying to educate the tech guys. A lot of times the guys are going to say, well, what do I need to know about the sales floor? Or, sales guys, what do I need to know about the tech? Well, all that right there that they're going to learn is going to teach them that this is why you build this amount.
You build each other's paycheck, so you better work together.
Correct. So we had a misunderstanding today. Not a misunderstanding. They were just going back and forth about how much to charge to do a component install in a Ferrari, California. Sales guys are saying, "Oh, I should get 3 hours," and tech guys are like, "Are you kidding me, bro? Have you ever taken one of these things apart? It's not 3 hours. Are you crazy?" And they're arguing back and forth. Finally, I had to step in and say, "Listen, man, if a tech guy is arguing with you about money and he's not actually a commission guy, that tells you that he's not. If you're not a commission guy, he's not going to worry about what we're charging, but he's worrying about shop dollars here. And when he tells you that it's taking 5 hours, then maybe you should sit back and listen to what he's saying just because you're trying to get a cheaper sale on labor dollars to make the job work, listen to what he's saying, because this is something that you could be opening a can of worms. And straight down to the T. It took about 5 hours,
Yeah.
5, 6 hours to do that job. And the tech guy was like, told you so. And I didn't stop. I completely, he clocked himself. I started from the beginning to the end, and it took him almost 6 hours. And at that point, the sales guy was like, I apologize. I didn't know what I was talking about. And, that's the way you kind of have to teach each other, man, because if not, you're always going to have that battle with the sales guy and the tech.
When are you guys doing those trainings?
Twice a month, man. We do one at the beginning, the first week of the month, and then the other one in the third week.
Like morning, after?
No, after work. And it's not nothing crazy long. You know what I'm saying? It's 45 minutes to an hour. I would bring in, snacks, whatever it is, soda, beer, keg, whatever.
Yep.
And just sit there and well, we have a keg in our showroom, in our waiting area. So they get to, customers get to drink a little cold brewski while they're there. But,
Emphasis on had.
yeah. It's all going away now. Now it's going to be
no wonder you got customers hanging around.
No wonder.
No, what's funny is we don't tell them that that's there. They see it, they know it's a keg, but they don't know if it works. And then you'll see them out the corner of your eye just kind of move their hand to see if something comes out.
A lot of single windows.
Yeah, they come get a free beer on us, man. But yeah, man, that's the way. Those trainings are really good, because that sets up communication in your shop from front and back.
Yeah. So something I'll give you on that here in a second when you're done. I got a suggestion for you.
Okay. So that's just one of the ways that we do it. Obviously, another thing that we were talking about, how to kind of establish what you got during the day, is every morning we have a powwow. We don't call it a meeting. We just get together right before the doors open, 15 minutes before the door open. We get together for about 5-10 minutes and kind of just go down each department. Hey, this is what your expectation for the day is. We got this much in your department. We're expecting these 3 cars to get delivered today. In your department, we're expecting for this car to be halfway done. This is the expectation. Now, if you beat it, great. If you don't, then at least be on track of what our schedule is saying. Because obviously, as soon as that schedule gets behind a couple hours, it starts becoming a shit fest on the backside. Because now you're having to call customers and move their appointment down a day, and you know how that goes with the schedule. It just becomes hectic, man. So we always try and set the expectation early in the morning, not just for the sales staff, and not just for the techs, but also for the sales staff. Sales staff has to have, hey, you got to have, and Shop Monkey, God bless them, where all the estimates that you see are in the queue that haven't been finalized, haven't been sent. Hey, we need to get this empty by the end of the day. When Ray called me today, he said, "What you doing?" I said, "Trying to get some money, some night money here, man. Trying to send out these last estimates of the day, just to be able to get a better track for the day tomorrow, and not have to worry about that tomorrow." So that morning powwow, you'll be surprised how far that goes. Just for the simple fact that it actually brings all you guys together. Everybody kind of drops their guard, whatever bad morning they're having on the way to work. They're able to chit chat and kind of break the ice, and it just gets the morning rolling good, man.
It lets the sales guys say, we do a huddle 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But yeah, we get to say, okay, so this is what's delivering today. So the sales guy knows, everybody's on the same playing field. Like, this is what needs to happen, and it works well for us also. Yeah, I gotta say,
very important.
I think that sets a really good standard for the day, because everybody at that point knows this is what has to be done today for everyone, not just the techs, not just the sales guys, or if you've got different, like, I know you guys all have different departments for mechanics work or wheels and tires or audio or whatever the case may be. And so everybody on the team knows what everybody else is focused on. So then it just becomes that one team mentality of, we have to accomplish what we have to get done today.
Yeah. So
tomorrow is a different day, and you can't have today hanging into tomorrow. Yamil, what I was going to give you a suggestion on, for when your guys are trying to break down, like the techs are trying to break down to the sales guys, how long it takes to do components in that car, right? So one thing that might work, and I used to do this is how I justified every dollar I charged all the way back to 2011, I think, is when I made the change. So I broke everything down into 20-minute increments. So everything we do, for the most part, can be done in 20, 40, or 60-minute increments, right? Every single part of a job. So if you break it down, you know, if you have your guy, if he needs to, you know, show a guy how much time it's going to take, break down, okay, it's going to take me this long to pull all these screws out of this door. It's going to take me this long to get this part, whatever it is that needs to come out, because, you know, like on a Ferrari like that, you're doing it by hand. You're not doing it with drills and mechanic, you know,
it's already all stripped out.
Right.
Pretty much.
So, you know, if he can justify it's going to take me this long to do this and this long to do this, and then if they're making plates or, you know, whatever is included in that job, but it's all broken down into these little bits of time, and then you add it up at the bottom, there's no way to deny what it's really going to take. So we did that, and that's how that's how my shop sold labor to a client, was 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, or, you know, 20 minutes times 2 or 20 minutes times 6, or, you know, whatever it was. Yeah. Each thing had, and we had itemized like head units and, you know, with a dash kit, or head units with an interface, and head units with Sirius satellite and an interface, and all these different things. We just added all these little bits and pieces to it and came up with a pretty good list for the shop. So everybody had it when they were trying to quote a job. Right. And when the guys were, you know, when a tech was going to break down the labor for the sales guy to know how to quote it, he had that sheet to look at it, and everybody has the same sheet to look at. So now everybody's on the same page to explain and justify the cost to the customer, because we didn't work on justifying how much it was. We worked on how much time it takes.
Correct.
You know,
so that's how we do our custom labor. This particular car, it was just kind of funny. We've never done a Ferrari California. It was just weird. Nobody in our shop had done one. We had I had never done one. You know, most seasoned techs had never done one. Done every other Ferrari out there, but never a California.
But not a California.
Not a California. So you know
if there's a surprise in it or not.
Correct. And then obviously, you know, call around and talk to a couple of our industry buddies. Say, hey man. And we were getting all over. Oh, I've taken those out in 3 hours. Oh, I've done them in 8 hours. So you kind of, you know, don't know an exact number. And that's what we were trying to kind of just be able to tell the customer, hey, this is what it's going to be. This is what we feel it's going to be, because we didn't have any real world knowledge of it. Usually we don't have that issue because we have enough data in the shop of vehicles that we've done, and we could go back to, hey, this is what it took. But this car was just a unicorn for us. You know, just one that we haven't done.
That's a rarity to find, right?
Correct, because especially a shop the size of ours that not one person has done with it. So I should have called Ray. I should have said, Ray, I know you've done 25 of these. You know,
about 2.5 hours, bud.
You see, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, you know, out the door.
You get the guys who are trying to beat on their chest saying it's an hour and a half, and then you got the realistic guys saying no, it's 12 hours. So it's like, which one? Who do you believe, man?
Yeah. When you start asking techs like that, it's almost like, you know, when the officer pulls you over, it's like, no, I only had 2 beers. I did that job in 1 hour. Okay, sure. Yeah, triple that, and that's what the real time is. So
sir,
two things on this. So 2 things on this. One, I think that you know, educated salespeople make the best salespeople, right? For multiple reasons. One, they're going to quote jobs properly, so you don't have to call a client back and say, hey, this was misquoted, we need to chart whatever. They're selling the right stuff, so they're not selling them, you know, no, that car's got 8s in the doors, it's not 6.5, like whatever. And so, like, you know, I was a tech for a long time, and so, you know, obviously been into sales for a long time. Ray can talk to a client, and really client feels good after they like, oh man, that guy knows what he's talking about because he walked me through the whole job front to back. Like, that experience and knowledge of the install side really helps with sales. I know it has for me. So I think those are great ideas. You know what you're doing. I think that's a good thing. We've been dabbling in that as far as getting sales guys educated. Obviously, you guys saw we got, you know, everybody in the shop MECP certified, the sales guys and techs that either expired
which is amazing, by the way.
Correct. Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
man. You guys too, man. I see it. I see you over there.
That's hard to do,
Yeah, the other part of this though is, and I don't know if you've started using this, Jamil, talking about labor times, but in ShopMonkey with the CAN services. So like we're starting to build jobs that might, be very detailed, and then those labor times can be saved as a service. So you can do that California job and literally save it as California component speaker install, and then you can save it as a CAN service next time California comes in. You can literally type search California and it'll pop up all the jobs for that car.
Or
pretty
your
cool.
Yeah,
F-150.
I wasn't
doing
worried
the
about
same
that.
way. F-150, you're doing the same audio package over and over again. CAN service. You can just click it, resell, done. Done
Correct.
deal.
That's amazing.
That right there, we started playing with that. We were trying to get familiarized with the basics, and now we're starting to play with a couple of the new features that actually help you.
So I'll tell you this: you don't even really need to work on that. You guys just do your thing, build tickets, and then like the next one comes in, you can be like, oh, we just did that a few weeks ago or a month ago or whatever. You can go back into that ticket. You can even rename it what you want it to be saved as, and then you can can it right from that 2-month-old ticket. So like you don't have to do them ahead of time. You can literally go back and do it, and then as you add it to your new one, you can change things. You can put different speakers on it. You can change the entire thing. It's just you can pull it up as a reference as you create your new one and
then
edit it, do whatever.
Yeah, then it has every single part that you actually needed because it's all there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All the part numbers, all of it.
Feature.
Yeah. Oh, it is. So far, we're just scratching the surface on the stuff.
God, I'd have loved to have had that 10 years ago when I was doing retail.
Well, so like, and I'll give you an example too. Like we do a lot of blackouts. I think Jamil, you mess with some of that stuff like blacking out trim and all that. So like a brand new Escalade has tons of stuff, right? Like door spears, windows, and grill and fog bed. It's got all this stuff, and you got labor time to R&R it all, paint it, wrap it, whatever it may be. And so once I did one big one that took me, 30 minutes to do or whatever, going through all the different lines. Now I just went back and saved it as a CAN service. And the next customer that comes in, I type in the search line on the ticket, Yukon blackout, and it just pops up and I hit boom. And then I can edit it or whatever. And it's got, 40 something lines on it that I literally made a whole ticket in like 5 seconds. I mean, it's awesome.
That's
hopefully hopefully we get there, man, because that saves a lot of time. Lots of time. So
I wonder, Ray, if we could
share them.
Yeah, if we could send him like a canned services list, that would
be
probably.
That'd be kind of cool.
It's going to be the next Facebook group is Shop Monkey canned packages, and we're going to be sharing them all over Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'll tell you this much: this
inventory in out.
Oh yeah, the inventory has been awesome, man. Obviously, we had a good tight inventory, but this just makes it so much easier to look up and just track stuff so much easier. And no, it really has saved us. Even though this month took us a little bit longer to do. Obviously, every week we're getting faster at it, but even taking the extra time to learn it, we're already seeing the benefits of it, man. Like week, like today was pretty much our 5th week starting it. So it's our first. We already have 1 month of full data on the Shop Monkey, and I'm already starting to see how much easier it is, man, to go back and find stuff. And like you said, if you already know you did F-150, I didn't know you could do the ticket as a CAN service. That's cool. I'm gonna try that tomorrow. But all I would do is type in F-150 and go find that ticket and just duplicate the ticket and change all, and it's all there. So
one thing on that, you want to be careful. So I learned this the hard way. If you duplicate a ticket and you leave that vehicle with that VIN in the top, if you edit that vehicle, we'll edit it on the other ticket because it's that same vehicle. So you got to delete that vehicle after you duplicate the ticket, delete the client, delete the vehicle, and add new, or it'll literally be editing that customer's vehicle and that customer. So we learned that the hard way. We kept going back and forth like, why does he keep changing this VIN number on this other ticket?
That's crazy.
You see, save me some time there. I'll check that out tomorrow because most likely that's what just happened. Because I didn't change it. Yeah, I didn't go back there and do that.
We figured that out the hard way.
Yeah, it's huge time saver for the guys that are up front. So those, you're talking about somebody that's going to try to make or build 10 tickets a day, and if they can build those tickets using canned services or something like that and save some time. And
Ray locked up there a little bit. I think that's going to really work towards efficiency too, though. You know, if as your guys get used to, like you're saying, like filling them doing the same vehicle over and over and over and over, then they're all going to know, oh, it's just this canned service, and they drop it in and a couple of edits, and what would have taken them 30 or 45 minutes or an hour now
or longer
or longer takes like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to edit what they need to edit, and the ticket's done, and they're on to the next thing. So it improves efficiency. And as we all know, having owned and run businesses, efficiency is our worst enemy for any of us. You know, not just a tech or a sales guy, but for the shop as a whole, efficiency is the most important thing.
Well, and the cool thing about the can services too is they're still learning, right? So if they use a can, say that Yukon Blackout package, like they still have to go through it because like things can change on those, right? Like customer wants to do something different on this piece, or it wants to be gloss black, satin black, like they still have to go through that whole thing, and so they're kind of learning as they go through it on what parts of that, and so they're still it's sort of done, but they still have to go through it line by line and figure out and add their details for that particular car. And so they can be like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah. I didn't think about the door spears, and like they're learning as they're going through it. So it makes them efficient, but it also doesn't just do it for them. I mean, it sort of does, but they still have to learn how to do that quote as they work through it. So that's what I like it. I'm me and Ray have come up with this whole green techs, and we've got experienced techs. We want those guys to learn. And so Ray has kind of come up with this way that works where the experienced techs are getting paid labor dollars out of that job to do part of that, whether it's working a laser, working a CNC, or drawing something. They're getting paid out of that job, but the tech is giving them some of those hours out of that job for them to do it, but they're doing it with them. So they're learning how to do it, not just here's the hours, go do it, and they didn't learn shit. It's about making sure experienced techs are getting paid for their time if they're training, and then the green techs are learning and not just having somebody do it for them, because you're not going to learn anything that way.
Right. So, yeah, you're not going to learn if you.
Usually working pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Majority of experienced techs don't mind helping or training.
Oh, they want to.
As long as a lot of them want to be on that side of it. But as long as their time is being respected and compensated, that's your best trainer. Because nobody's going to have more time than the experienced tech in the same bay to be able to teach. Biscuit in our shop, his part of his role is, you're a trainer, man. You're that's your job. You're the guy that they look up to. Expect that you're going to get questions. You're going to get people looking at what you're doing, how you do stuff. Don't sit there like a caged animal and just let people look at you. You have their attention. Use that time to teach. And he started learning that. Now when he sees guys sitting there watching, he's like, dude, what are you doing? What are you watching? Pick up that bondo and let's start wiping this down, or get that wood on the CNC. Let's get this thing cut, and whatever it is, and gets these other techs involved. And at the same time, it's teaching them sometimes just the basics, man. Some of these guys didn't know how to load a CNC. They didn't know how to turn it on. So it's one of these things where little by little he's teaching them. And next time I know, I see another guy, he's saying, hey, David, go cut these rings on the CNC. And I'm like, when did David learn how to do that? And he's like, man, he picked it up, a week and a half ago. And I'm like, awesome, dude. That's great, because now that frees you up from having to do that for this tech or that tech. And you start empowering your techs to learn more, and you'll be surprised how they start picking up more and more, and it becomes more efficient. The shop becomes more efficient.
Yep. But on that same note, somebody that's training that's either feels like they're just getting stuff sucked out of them and nothing replenished, whether it be dollars or whatever, can become a really shitty trainer. Where they are not in a good place. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, correct. You have to
those
respect,
guys. Yeah,
correct. That's the key. The key there is respect their time and make sure that their time is being compensated.
And it should be. They've got the decades in it or whatever. So it should be. It should be compensated.
So
but
that's where
see,
you buy more toys for them to learn how to play with, right?
That's right.
correct. So it's funny. It's funny you say that. I had a guy come in for an interview this Saturday. Guy who's been with another shop for 16 years.
Wow.
Okay, and I'm like, when he calls me, he wants to come interview. He calls actually Biscuit, and he says, Biscuit, I want to come interview, but I don't know how to get I can't get in contact with Jamil. And he's like, here's his cell phone, call him. So he calls me, and I was kind of surprised because I know who the guy is. I said, hey man, what's going on? He's like, I want to come work with you guys. And I'm like, caught me by surprise. It was April, so I'm like, this got to be an April Fool's joke they're playing on me, man. So I'm sitting there kind of like, I don't believe you, So I'm not taking it very seriously. Shame on me, because honestly, I thought they were pulling my leg. And then he was like, no, I am 100% serious. I am ready to move where I'm at right now. I'm having to buy my own, bits for the CNC, for the routers. Nothing's being provided to me, and I'm like, a guy that's been with somebody for 16 years has some loyalty.
Yeah.
Because that's a long time in this business to be with somebody.
Yeah.
And so I tried to do the right thing, man. I said, hey man, you need to go talk to your owner before we continue this conversation. Just go talk to him, man. 16 years is a long time to just throw out the window. And he says, I already tried that last week. And he said we would talk by Friday, and he didn't make any effort to come talk to me. So
Wow.
at that point, I know that he's taking me for granted. I'm not on his priority list. So the guy's it's shameful because the guy's a really good tech, very knowledgeable, and an owner is going to lose a great tech because he wasn't taking care and respecting his time.
I'll give you $500 for that name right now, Jamil. $500.
Feels like I'll give you $500 and I'll have a U-Haul.
Yeah, Ray's over there like 1,000. We'll do 1,000. I got 1,000.
He's like, I'll put a U-Haul on that guy's doorstep tomorrow.
You know what that that's worth a lot more right now, man. Dude, it's crazy. I don't know how you guys are in your market over there, man. I told my key guys in the shop, I said, you'll see here in the next couple months, you're going to see a lot of shops closing doors. You're going to see a lot of guys on the move. And they were like, why are you saying that, man? That makes no sense. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you'll see. There's a lot of shops that rode that wave for a long time with that free money, and they didn't do anything to improve their shop. All they did was improve their lifestyle, but not their business. And literally in the last, I would say, week and a half to 2 weeks, I've had about 6 phone calls, guys looking to move. And it's crazy because they're being recommended by somebody else in the industry that maybe has got to know me or got to know Biscuit or somebody else in the shop. And they're getting it from guys in the back. Hey man, you got to come over here, man. We're having a great time. We're making money. We're having a blast. And the phone's been ringing. Obviously, I can't hire everybody, and I won't hire everybody. So I'll send you those other ones for $1,000.
Yeah, send me. I'll take your leftovers. We need whatever help we can get. So.
The traffic jams rejects.
But I'm gonna tell you this. I really didn't understand this. I wish I would have learned this a long time ago. Your techs are your best salespeople, your best recruiters to get guys in the shop. Your best recruiters, man. Once that switch flips in their head, that they're happy where they're at, that they're bleeding whatever color you are. If us is black and red, you guys black and green, they're bleeding those colors. They're your best recruiters, man. And I didn't realize that until late, man. And I'm like, now I'm putting it all on them. Hey, you guys want more tours? Get more techs. You guys want more? Get more techs. You want this? Get more. You want more money? Get more techs. And they're all doing the job. And all you have to do is make sure you're taking care of them somehow, And a lot of these guys are not wanting, I don't know your market, but in our market, they just want to be in a cool place that has all the toys for them to play. I had a guy, one of the guys that I interviewed, he says, man, you're telling me that I could come in on Saturday and Sunday and work on my own personal car? And I'm like, why not? I mean, shop is closed. As long as you leave the shop the way you found it, sure. And he was like, I'm in. And I'm like, whoa, that was too easy, man. Hold on, man. He said, I said, that's too easy, man. I don't know if I want you that easy, man. But just little things, man. I'm just, I wish Phil, that we've done some dumb mistakes in our as owners. I mean, if I would have known what I know now 25 years ago, I probably would have 10 traffic jams.
Yep.
I just, didn't have the access like we have now to have this platform right here, talking
Mhm.
to, three guys that are very well respected in their industry, that know their shit, and learning from them. And this conversation is where I learned the most from, because a guy like Ray, I mean, I don't know if Ray tell you, but I mean, I was sucking his brain at Master Tech, just because
Yeah.
I know he's in the same boat I am. He sees the same crap I see every day. He and I are almost taking the same steps every day of dealing with so many texts, so many problems, so many issues, so many this. So if we could bounce off a mistake that I could have done or he could have done, and we could learn something from each other,
Mhm.
man, that's worth the trip, man. Worth the trip. I appreciate that, Ray, too, man. Seriously, that
So
goes a
I
long
wanna
way, man.
I want to say something about what you were talking about, like with seeing texts coming from other shops, and it kind of goes back to um the last show that Ray and I did with Tazi and Ada, talking about, if you owned a business before, during, and after COVID, you've owned 3 different businesses.
Hmm.
And those guys that started businesses right before COVID hit, that didn't have to learn how to operate a business, didn't have to learn how to go find work, didn't have to build relationships with people to consistently have projects coming in the door. It just fell in their lap. All that money just fell in their lap, and then all of a sudden it dries up, and now here they are going, oh shit,
Yeah.
I don't know how to get a job in here. I don't know how to go find any work.
Yeah.
And so that also goes back to something I've said for probably a decade now. Our industry has made it way too easy for anyone to start a business. Meaning, you get a guy that comes and works for you, and he gets pissed off because he sees you making a ton of money. Oh, I do all the work, and Jamil or Phil's making all their money off of my back, kind of thing, right? I had that guy, and he tried to go off and start his own shop. And what you end up with is too many business owners that have no business owning a business, because all they are is installers that got upset, or sales guys that got upset, and they didn't go learn what it takes to own and manage and run a business. So they spend all of their time working in a business that they basically own their job.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They don't
And
have a business; they have a job.
they don't have a
Yeah.
business. They own their
There's a
job.
difference.
Yeah, very much so. There's a difference in working in your business and working on your business, right?
Hmm.
And so now, like you said, you're going to see all these guys closing up because they don't know how to own a business.
Yep.
And they didn't know how to take care of their employees, because, as we all know, having been it or made the mistake not doing it, if you don't take care of an employee, they will not take care of your customers, and in turn, you're out of business.
Well, and like what, the class that Dan and I did on diversifying, it was literally that class came from me not being diversified and going out of business with my first business. I mean, I didn't do wholesale. I only did this and that. Like I was, I thought I knew everything, I was in my 20s. And so and it failed. So I learned those lessons, and I'm hoping because I think that the time's coming that's going to be more important than it has been. And so I'm hoping that, some of these guys and these owners went to, paid attention to my class and diversified their revenue streams.
Yeah. I mean, Tazi
That's
said
the
it
most
best
important.
in our last podcast. Tazi said it best. There are a lot of people out there that should close up business and go be an employee. They are way better employees than they'll ever be business owners. And that's one of those simple facts you just can't deny.
Yep.
So that of diversifying, brother, I am so blessed, man, that I had that vision about 13 years ago, man, and I started that long. We've been around for a long time, and we were just never, uh, we never put our hat out there, or we never kind of put our head out of our backyard to see what else was going on in the industry. I was
Yeah.
that guy who I didn't care about the industry as long as it didn't happen at 902 Gainesville Highway. Screw the rest of it, you know. So, and I was that guy. I was that guy who didn't care.
me
I wanted
too.
to be the top. I wanted to be the top dog in my backyard and screw the rest of the country. I didn't care about that. But I did have that vision that far back, and little by little, I started putting all those pieces together, and a lot of people always doubted that was a a way to run a shop. I had so many arguments with guys in the industry talking about there's no way you could diversify and be successful. And I'm like, well, we've been doing it for 13 years, and we've been doing very well with it. As a matter of fact, I always tell folks when the economy tanked, that's when we grew like 400% because we were busy because we always had something going on in the shop. And like you guys know, man, one day audio could be just bursting at the seams. Next day, audio might slow down, but now the mechanical department's bursting at the seams, or the window tint, or the vinyl, or the upholstery, wheels and I mean, you hit it right on the head. But it's a platform or a business model that I believe more shops need to take advantage of it. And I've actually seen more shops doing it now, which I'm proud of them. My guy Parker Lopez up there in Chicago. I just saw that he went and purchased his tire machine and his balancer and all that. I'm applauding them, and I said, thank God that guys are starting to either listen to what you've been preaching, I've been preaching, or they're starting to realize that, hey, man, there is a revenue here to be made. And it's something that I think that if you're just going to be just an audio shop, you're still going to make it if you're good at what you do, but you're leaving a lot of revenue on the table.
Yep,
lots
absolutely.
of it, man. So
well, and finding techs in specifically in 12 volt is getting harder and harder to do. So if you can't have enough techs to manage enough business in that, you're going to have to find ways to make money elsewhere to supplement what you're not able to compensate for in doing only 12 volt.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, I do have 12 volt techs that could change tires. So,
well, okay.
Yeah,
so
they also want to grow,
Right.
so not you just bringing on a different revenue stream doesn't mean you have to go source out a new employee for that particular task. You may have a guy inside that already wants to learn and grow.
True. Gives him something else to do when there is nothing to do.
Well,
Right,
and you
but
got to
that's
be
the key.
smart about your growth, right? Like, so, and I'll just give you an example. So, one revenue stream that we started getting into, we have now a couple times, and currently don't offer it because we now don't have the person in the building that could do it 110%. And if you don't do it 110%, it can be a complete nightmare. And that's paint protection film. So, paint protection film is it's an art. It's a very good, it's a skill that you have to. I'm picky with PPF, and PPF is a difficult thing. And if we can't have that material is expensive, and if you're not doing it, people that are buying it are picky, those clients. And if you're not doing it really well, it can cost. You can go under doing PPF. And so, and we don't offer it right now. I don't have it. I got a subcontractor we can sub it out to if we just need to make it part of a big job. But I've exited the arena for that right now until I can put somebody in my building that'll do it to the high standards that we have and my customers are going to have. I'd rather not offer it. So you got to be smart. If you can do it with the text you got, the space you got, and do it 110% like you do your audio or whatever it is, great. Add that to your repertoire. But if it's something that you're going to do at 80% or not the level that you're doing your other things that you're known for, then don't do it. That's my suggestion for that. And I learned that again from the hard way. I'm gonna offer PPF. This guy's pretty good, and then 20,000 in the hole redoing all these cars that he had messed up, and decided I learned that lesson that was not the case. So you got to be smart about what you're adding. Don't just add everything.
So,
right. Yeah.
So I'll tell you this. I had the same situation with PPF. I don't have a guy in my building who does PPF, but I still am making a killing on PPF with my subcontractor. But what I did is that I went and got the best PPF guy in our city. This guy is the number one access dealer in the country for PPF. And this guy comes in with his crew. It's 8 of them. They do about 6 to 7 cars a day. Okay.
Mm.
And what I worked out with him, because it just worked out perfect for us. But like right now, he's doing the Aston Martin for me, and he's doing the M7 for us. And he is right now at the shop doing one. He has keys to our building, cars inside in the clean room. He comes in, knocks it out, calls me when he's leaving. I lock up the shop remotely, and he's on his way. We still make $500-600 on the job, and it's being done after hours. So I would suggest just find the best guy in your area.
Yeah,
And
does
just
he want
work
to
out.
travel to Nashville? I got like 4 cars there right now. I need that.
Let me tell you. Well, I'll tell you this. I will pass you his number because he has a
Okay.
big enough crew that he does that. I know he sends guys over to Alabama and he sends guys to our neighborhood, but I don't see why he wouldn't do it. As long as they're all lined up, he'll send up a crew for 3-4 guys and get them all done in one day. That's how good they
Okay.
are.
Yeah,
When I
we'll
tell
chat
you,
about that after
yeah,
the show.
he's really good. He's real good. But make that money, brother. Don't just because you can't do it in house with a guy. Find that person, and you can
Hey,
still make that
One
money.
Yeah, we
one
love
other-
subcontractors, and we got them. So I will say that when you offer a service in house with your own guy, and then you go to that and then have to go back to a subcontractor,
that
yeah,
hurts.
it's a lot harder because you saw how much money you were making doing it in house, and but
100% agree with you.
but
100%
I'd
agree
rather
with you.
make something than nothing. So like I'm with you.
Correct.
But man, after seeing those margins when they work in house for you, it's pretty difficult to go backwards.
Oh yeah, I get it. I understand.
Well, cool. Any other topic? Anything else you want to chat about?
I think we're doing good, man. I want to thank you guys for coming on. I really enjoyed this. It's my whole thing with these podcasts is I want to be able to have guys like you come on and share information, right? We do this one. It can be about anything. Like this podcast could be anything we want it to be, but this kind of stuff, I absolutely love this when we can cover a topic.
This is where a lot of people pick up little tips and tricks, and they want to hear from what other people that are drowning in work have to deal with and how they get through that stuff. So
yeah,
I enjoy
guys
it, and I know other people want to hear it.
Yeah, the guys that are growing and learning are learning from the guys that have grown and taken those lumps to help them make decisions.
Well, and I think I could probably speak for Yamil and I mean, when I do these, it's not really from a, we got it going on. I mean, I say all the time, like, I don't know anything. I'm learning stuff every day. But the main thing is like, man, if I've made so many mistakes, I mean,
right.
I was trying to make mistakes is how many mistakes I've made. And if I can talk about some of those and, hey, I did this and this, and now I'm doing this and it works so much better. I'm trying to make sure people don't make all the mistakes that I made, because there was just a lot of them, and a lot of them were avoidable. And if I had somebody, telling me, hey, don't do this, try this, it works great.
Yeah.
Then I would have loved that. So,
well, you guys are learning to succeed more, and because you guys have already been successful. If you've had a business as long as either one of you, or Ray used to own a business, I used to own a business. We've all had our levels of success, but you guys consistently show that happening for your area. And guys that are trying to learn and grow, if they can learn anything, I talk about this too. Like when you're learning and you go somewhere to get knowledge, you're not going to, most of the time, intelligent people aren't going to learn this much information. They're going to get a bunch of little nuggets. Mm-hmm. And if they get 4 or 5 little nuggets, and Ray will attest to this from going to different training seminars and being a trainer back in the day. And, guys will get little nuggets from you and they'll call you and go, dude, I learned this from you and it saved me all this time, or I learned how to do this better, or that made me think of this. So all these little nuggets that they pick up from you guys can help them. It may not point them in the same direction that you guys go, but if it helps them make what they're doing better and they find ways to be more successful at what they're doing, then that's the success in it as it is. Yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for coming on, man. This
Jamil, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's one of those things where, when I first started coming around and getting more on the national level of just talking to folks, I realized that there was a lot of guys who were very tight-lipped. Um, they're holding this information like they're going to take it to the grave.
Yep.
And one thing that I'll give kudos to you, Philip and Ray, man, you guys are always willing to talk to folks. You're willing to share your experiences, and not only share, but be honest with your experiences. Because, like you said, we screw up so much, man. That, dude, like you said, I think we're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But we've learned over the years. We've learned from these screw ups, and now we're trying to teach guys, or not teach guys, but just give them a little bit of an advice. Hey, man, you may not want to go down that road, because when I went down that road, that cost me a lot of money.
Yeah,
And
just share.
sometimes we're blessed that a mistake for me or a mistake for you, Phil, at your shop is not going to close your doors. But for other shops, one mistake can close your business. And that's the part where I've tried to kind of take on this kind of challenge to be able to be as open at these events, at these trainings, at these podcasts of, hey man, you need something, call me, or send me an email, send me a text, because you know something, you and I didn't have that. I learned through the lumps, man. I got some lumps of learning from this business, man. Burning shit down and breaking stuff, and this is the way that we learn. This is in the era we were doing this. This is how you learn. And I think that a lot of veteran guys need to drop that ego a little bit, or drop that whatever the hell they think they got going on, and start helping this next generation of shop owners and techs and sales guys to make our industry better and stronger. One thing that I really dislike is that our industry has such a bad name.
Yeah.
We're the sleazeball industry of car modifiers and stuff like that.
We're the used car salesman.
Correct, we are. Why do we have to have that reputation? Why do we have to have that reputation? Most guys are not willing to ask the question, or scared to come and approach you and ask a question.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of guys get rejected when they come ask a question, or made fun of, or laughed at. Our class in Vegas, man, you saw the line of people that stayed after class to talk to us. It almost felt like we were being held hostage there. But you know something? That was the impact that we had on folks, man.
Yeah.
The impact of the emails, the text messages of, hey man, I implemented one of the things that you guys said, and it's working great.
Yeah.
That makes me personally, makes me feel good, because that means somebody's not going to take the lump that I took to make that happen. And it might be a cheat code for them, but if it helps our industry name get better, man,
right,
more to more power to
well,
them.
and Ray can see, like, when we get that, like, yes, it feels good and all that, but it really just, when I go home after those, and Ray's seen it, and I've seen it with Ray too, like when he came back from MasterTech, like, it just makes us want to go to the next level, right? Like, hey, we just shared all this stuff that's been working, but like, man, we got all this other shit we need to fix, and so we can talk about how it's better, or whatever.
Correct,
so
correct.
we're really going refocusing on processes and all that. I've seen it in Ray too. It's been really cool to watch.
My guys know when we come back, they're like, "Oh God, here it comes again."
Yeah,
here it comes around, man.
Yeah. So you go out and inspire a bunch of people, and then you go back and go, okay, what do I need to fix? And you come back inspired to find things to improve within your own facility.
That's
the
key.
Then the next thing you know, somebody's asking you about what you did there. It's like this never-ending cycle and spiral of going round and round and round of inspiring and being inspired. I don't do retail. I don't work in retail anymore. I dabble in building stuff in my garage and on my own car and my own little, outside of car audio projects. But I watch what a lot of guys do, and Ray knows this, that I'm going to mention Justin Marks real quick, because this guy, I know, Phil, he worked for you, and that guy, since I have seen him grow, inspires me all the time, just because knowing how he looks at a process, and not just him, but how a lot of these guys look at processes to build or create or make a business successful. How you guys do that inspires people. It inspires me to how do I do something different? What do I do differently? You know, how do I get better at something? And like my biggest struggle, I don't know if you guys can see this. I got a rack of guitars sitting here. So I'm a collector that's learning how to play. That's what I call myself, right? Because I can barely play. But that's what I'm inspired to do this year is I'm going to learn how to play all 11 of my fucking guitars sitting here because I own too many guitars and I can't play them. I've been playing those since I was 6, so that's easy. But you know, it's inspiration can come from anywhere for anything. And what you guys are doing and the way you guys are doing it is inspiring people to grow their businesses and make them more efficient and make them better. And that's what I love to see from you guys.
Awesome. And kudos to Justin Marks that you bring him up. I know Justin. I know Justin probably better than most because he's from Georgia and he worked for traffic jams. So he actually worked for us for when he was young. And I tell you, what he is today, there is no way you would have ever thought that would have been Justin 20 years ago. So
20 years ago,
a long way.
You know, 15 years ago when I think I found him, you know, leared about him, he was a cocky little punk that was very, you know,
he wasn't little, he was fat.
Well, I mean, he was a big guy, but I mean, he was young and he was very cocky, and to see what he is now versus then, like that guy's amazing. So that's why he inspires me, is because he never stops learning and getting better, but you can see the thought process in it. And that's what's really cool. So, guys, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I think we're going to wrap up. I really want to thank you guys again for coming on. Ray, thank you for putting this one together. This was all you, and I appreciate it. So, guys, thank you, and hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having us.
We went over half the list, so I think we got a whole other topic for both of you at a later date. I sure appreciate it.
For sure.
Well, thank you for having us. Thank you for the invitation. And again, if you guys need anything, you know, my line is always open.
Well, you know, and that's something let's put out there at the very end of this. For anybody watching, if you have questions, if you need help with anything business related, I think these 3 guys are probably
an email or a message away.
Yeah. I mean, comment on this post, you know, or comment on this video or whatever, or reach out to one of us to get contact information for somebody else. None of these people are hiding, and they're not hiding what they're doing. So take what they have learned, talk to them, get the information you can get when you need it from wherever you can get it. And these are 3 of some of the best. I've known Ray for, God, I don't even remember how long. It's been a long time that Ray and I have known each other. And you know, I've met Phil, Yamil. I don't know if I think I've met you once when I was with Escort. I think we came by your shop one time back in the day.
Probably when I was skinny and had hair.
Yeah, maybe. But you know, it just, I know you guys from the industry. I know from social media. But again, not one of these guys is a bad guy to talk to get information from. And I'm always available for questions. And if I don't have an answer, I'll find you one of these guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
We don't have all the answers, but we'll get them.
You know what? None of us have all the answers, but we know enough people we can find something. It might not be the right answer, but we'll at least find you an answer of what not to do.
I appreciate both of you guys coming on tonight.
Thank you guys, man.
Thank you guys for doing this in such short notice. I really appreciate it.
No problem. You guys have
Ray, can I take off tomorrow, or do I need to be there? Oh,
no.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. We'll see you. Thank you, guys.
I'll see you guys. All right. Good night.
Ray.
Perfect.
Man.
It was a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this one together. This is why I pick the people that I do to do these with me, because sometimes I just don't have the answer of what's the best way to go about it. And that was perfect.
Good. I still have a phone full of other topics, and we'll talk.
Yeah,
about
absolutely. Let's you know,
right now. I mean, we're still recording. Anyway, so I have I need to put 2 things together. One of them is for my Canada trip.
Okay.
And I'm working on possibly 2 classes. One's going to be a tech class, and one is manager course for Knowledge Fest.
Okay.
Not sure if I'm going to do one this year or schedule to do all of them in 2024.
Okay.
But that's going to be a thing. So my next couple weeks, I'm pretty busy. Then he gets
Yeah.
the thing wrapped up, and then I'll be in Canada for a few days.
Okay.
So we should get together as soon as you get back next week.
Okay.
Or after Canada.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I have a couple of ideas for what I'd like to do for the next one, maybe,
Cool.
but let's make a plan for the next 2 or 3.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
that way we're ahead of the game as far as we know what we want to do. I'm working on trying to do some stuff for Knowledge Fest Vegas next year.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'll be doing anything this year, but I'm definitely trying to do something, put together something for next year. Maybe something in Dallas. I don't have time to prep for Orlando, but
yeah, me neither. Well, I got Dan and Phil are doing the other one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I figure if I can get it together, I really want to do and not so much the tech side. The tech thing I'm doing in Canada is just kind of because it's a topic that I feel I know a lot on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, coding preamp stuff and things like that. So
yeah.
Yeah, I would like to speak on the other side of it, so the management side. So,
yeah.
anywho,
Well, that would be kind of cool seeing. I mean, for me to know, your background and being a tech guy. Now you're kind of stepping out into a different role.
Yeah, I was just telling Bassler, like, man, I feel like I've learned more on this side of the fence than I ever did being a tech. My brain says no, you're wrong, because look at all the shit from the tech side. But no, I feel that way, and I like that I'm growing that much on this side of the fence. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see Ray 2.0.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's 5.0. Who knows? But
yeah, it feels that way. But I'm enjoying.
But the evolution is cool to see being involved with you now. Obviously you could see it happening a little bit over time, but talking to you and now having these conversations and kind of seeing that mindset has changed. That's a lot of fun, man. It's cool to see our guys grow. It's like talking to Elias, when he was a retailer to now he's manufacturer, and McNulty and some of these other guys that have transitioned from one part of the industry to something else, whether they've gone from tech to owner or whatever, but the changes over the years from guys that I've known for a long time, seeing it change. It's really cool.
Yep.
Okay, man.
Awesome.
Trying to think. Any good music? Anything new?
No.
No.
A bunch of shit out. Hang on. I got on a Queensryche kick. So that's what's been happening on the weekends is straight Queensryche.
I'll give you one. Were you ever a fan of Extreme?
Yep.
So they have a new album.
We talked about this last time.
Did we talk about it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to that one track that they have out, dude. So many people are saying that Nuno, the guitarist, is like carrying the torch for Eddie.
Yeah.
And it's a fact. That the more I listen to that track, the more I love it. I got a new guitar. I got a really funny story I'll have to tell next time about this guitar. I'll show it off. I basically bought a guitar and they ended up giving it to me because of all the screw ups. It's kind of funny. I posted on Facebook about it, but
yeah, we'll get together. We'll text. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. You have a good night. Everybody else, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And
good night.
We'll
see you next time.
Absolutely. We will see everybody soon.
Goodbye.
Take it easy, Ray.